What's up, everybody? This is Slab City TV, and we are here with the almost happy camper. He's going to go ahead and explain what the Boondock Bash of 2022 is going to be all about, and this is pretty much what this stream is all about. So let's go ahead and get into it, man. Well,
Cool.
first of all, thank you for joining, almost happy
Yeah, good to be
camper.
here.
Um, you wanted me to go ahead and ask you, why are you almost happy camper, man?
I get that question all the time, and people are like, "Why aren't you happy?" And the thing is, I'm really happy. I'm probably more happy than most people. It's not about not being happy, it's about never being to that full happiness. It's the whole reason I started doing the nomadic thing. I can travel, I can pull into a spot, nicest place in the world, has everything I want, fishing, hot springs, free parking, good scenery. But after a while, it gets kind of stale, and I want to go someplace different. And so it's kind of like a grass is always greener type thing. And
Jimmy, hey Jimmy, could you turn your camera off? Because I think that's interfering with audio.
turn my camera off. Oh,
Yeah,
I
I think
see.
that interferes with the audio for some reason.
Um,
Okay, go ahead and talk.
can you hear me any better now?
Okay, yeah, now you're coming in straight better. Go ahead and continue with your explanation of why you
Okay.
are almost a happy camper.
So yeah, mostly it's not that I'm not happy. I'm extremely happy, but it's chasing that newness, chasing the reason a lot of people become nomadic. You want to see new things, you want to have that constant new experience of that makes you feel a little more fulfilled. And so it's like I said, I can be in the nicest place in the world, but after a little while I get bored, it gets stale, and I got to go someplace new. That's chasing happiness for me. So it's not that I'm unhappy, it's just that I'm always looking for something that makes me happier, I guess, if that makes any sense.
Okay. Oh, you're always on the move. You're always doing something new. That's pretty much what I understood from that.
Except for the last 8 months, I've been stuck in one place, and so that's been driving me a little crazy. But yeah, I'm about to hit the road again and start heading down to Slabs and get ready for this winter trip. So I'm getting real excited.
Okay, cool. So let's go. So this is about the Boondock Bash of 2022, right? So let's go ahead and get into some of the questions. So
Okay.
first of all, what is the event?
Well, I've been running this Facebook group for the last 12 years. And the guy who started the Facebook group was actually living in Slab City at the time. So that's why it's kind of like come full circle that we're doing this here now. About 5 years ago, I went down to Quartzsite, Arizona, and I went to a few of these nomadic people camp out, RVer, van life, bus life parties. And I had a great time. And while I was there, I realized this is something I could do. Now, my Facebook group, Boondocking and Free Camping USA, it has like 140,000 members.
Wow.
And there's always been people in the group asking, why don't we have a group meetup? And I never really knew how to do it or if we could do it. And after going to Quartzsite for the first time years ago, I realized this is something I can actually do. So the next year I went back, and my friend Seth helped me. If Seth watches this, I got to give him a shout out, because if it wasn't for him, it would have probably never started. He used to help organize some rainbow gathering events. And so we did a lot of this based on the way that they do their events. Although we're not a rainbow event, but we just use a lot of the same principles for like our freedom of assembly, which is how we can do it without a permit, the idea of feeding people. A lot of it is based off of his experiences, and he taught me some things, and I applied some of my own things. And another friend, Tile, who runs Nomad Center Camp, and he's known for hosting the PARTR, which is the party version of the RTR, which is the Bob Wells Rubber Tramp Rendezvous. So if it wasn't for those two guys, I would have never done this. But I did it for the first time in Quartzsite 3 years ago. This year's is going to be the fourth Boondocking Bash. And I wanted to mix it up a little bit. I've always gone to Slab City ever since I started going south. That first year I went to Quartzsite, a bunch of my friends wanted to go to Slabs, and I'd always wanted to go. I'd been watching all the videos for years. It was mostly just the gas was the main thing keeping me from going. Motorhomes aren't cheap to drive. And I kind of wished I'd have gone by myself and really got a chance to fully immerse like you only can by yourself. But it was also nice to go as a group. And we came down to Slab City. I fell in love with the place. And over the last 3 or 4 years, especially since COVID hit, I've kind of watched the tourism just dwindle there. And so this year I decided I needed a change. Almost happy. If I keep doing it in courtside all the time, it's just going to get boring. So I wanted to do something different. And I know that Slab City could use a boost of tourism. I know there's a lot of people out there who've always wanted to go and they've never known, when's going to be the right time. Who can I camp with? I don't want to go by myself, or all these other reasons why people have put off visiting Slab City. And so I thought this year I'm going to move the BoonDocking BASH to Slab City. We're going to go as a group, camp as a group, put on a lot of things for people to do, and kind of keep an eye out for each other. Like, nobody's going to be responsible for anybody else's stuff. Like, keep an eye on your own stuff, but everybody will be watching out for each other. A lot of the slab camps, the full-time camps and the regular camps, they're excited to have us there. A lot of them are willing to help out. We're going to try to visit as many of those camps and just kind of give people an experience and an excuse to go and a group to go with.
Okay. Can you share again how long have you been doing this event for?
This will be the 4th year.
Okay, the 4th year. Okay, because you mentioned that you have a Facebook group for about, did I hear correctly, 10 years?
I've been an admin for 12 years, and it's been around for like almost 15.
Oh, okay. And you created that group, right?
Actually, my friend Mike created it, and he
Oh,
was
okay, yeah, okay.
living in Slab City over at East Jesus at the time.
Oh, okay. Okay, so what can people what can people expect when they get to the Boondock Bash? I know that you mentioned something in one of your previous videos of one of your about the idea of self-sufficiency. Like, people have to take uh enough items to be self-sufficient.
Yeah, generally this event is for people who boondock year round. A lot of these people travel all year and they kind of camp by themselves. And this event and the other events that happen in Quartzsite, those are the one time a year that the people get to socialize and build a community of sorts and share their stories and share meals together and share music and have fun. So most of these people are already self-sufficient. They're able to bring their own food, their own water, fix their own vehicles if they need to, take care of their own bathroom needs. But I understand that because I'm doing it a little different this year, there's probably going to be a lot of people who aren't full-time nomads. And from what I understand, the Ponderosa has generously offered to donate to us a porta potty. But that porta potty is not going to be for everybody. That's just for the people who have no other way to use a bathroom. If you're coming with an RV or you've already got like a bucket that you use, don't be using this, because we don't have the resources and means to like dump this thing every 4 or 5 days. This is just for the people who don't normally camp. They're just going to show up in their van and check it out and hang out with us. And I want to like try to accommodate them, but we're not trying to do stuff for everybody. You've got to be able to do stuff for yourself. We are going to be having like a soup night. Last year we made grilled cheese and tomato soup for a couple hundred people, and that was awesome. We have this thing called Super Secret Late Night Bacon Club that started at the Van Build Fest about 4 years ago. One night, late at night, a bunch of us were still awake drinking, and somebody said, "Man, I wish we could get DoorDash delivered out here, or a pizza." Like, nobody's going to deliver to the middle of the desert in 2 a.m. So I said, "Well, I got a pound of bacon." And somebody else said, "I got a cast iron skillet." And somebody else said, "Well, I'll cook it." So we ended up cooking bacon. And it turns out, after a long night of drinking, bacon is amazing. And it turned into a regular thing that we do at all of these events. There's about 4 or 5 events that happen in the Quartzsite area every year, including the Bash. And they're all about 2 weeks long. And usually we do the Super Secret Late Night Bacon Club thing every other night, at least 2 or 3 nights during the party. It depends on how much bacon people bring. I'm going to bring a lot of bacon, but usually other people will bring bacon. In fact, if you can bring anything that we can use, like games, board games, outdoor games, lawn games. I have a giant Jenga set. We like to play Farkle. We'll have a projector and a movie screen. We'll probably do a movie night. We'll have a karaoke night, at least one. We'll have a dance party night, maybe a themed night. That's one of the really cool things about this is there's a lot of things that we do every year, but it's all kind of based on what the people who attend are willing to contribute. We usually have morning coffee and morning yoga, but we need somebody to lead the yoga and somebody to get the coffee set up. So every year at the start of the event, I ask people, if you're willing to help with anything, you have any special skill you want to share, if you want to teach people something, if you want to show people something, if you play music and you want to play for us, like if you're bringing anything to this party that we can share to make it fun for everybody else, let me know and we'll make it happen. Even if it's just an idea, even if it's something that you can't do, I like people to come to me and tell me. One night somebody said, let's do glow bowling. So we made a bowling alley in the middle of the desert and set up 2-liter bottles with glow sticks in them and had a ball with little glow sticks in it. We had glow bowling. It's different every year, and it just kind of depends on what people want to bring to the table to make it a good event for everybody else. We're going to need chairs, tables. I'll be bringing some stuff, but if anybody else has fold out tables or chairs they can bring, that would be great. I recently won a flat top grill that we'll be cooking on, but we can probably use other cooking things for outdoor cooking. Firewood. I can hear myself in the background echoing.
Go ahead. Sorry about that.
Firewood, we're going to need some firewood. I'll be buying some firewood. People will pitch in on firewood. Right now, we're looking for a good source of firewood in the area. When we do this in Quartzsite, there's all kinds of people selling firewood. So I'm still looking for some suppliers. I found one guy, but he wants like $750 a cord. And I can't afford that. But maybe if we pitch in, but I think we can get some wood cheaper somewhere. If nothing else, everybody who attends, if you can just bring some wood, like the more wood we have, the better. I've always said from the beginning of this event, if we don't do anything else, if the only thing we do is have a fire every night, then we've succeeded, because that's the whole purpose, is to have a central campfire every night for everybody to gather around and get to know each other and share their stories and, of course, stay warm. That's the main goal of the Boondocking Bash every year, is to have a central fire every night for people to gather around. And then everything else is just gravy on top.
Okay. Are these bashes, are they big? Do a lot of people show up?
The first year we had 500 people show up.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
but this
incredible.
site where there's already thousands of RVers. Um, I have no idea how many people are going to show up this year. I made an event tab. If anybody listening is planning to go, I'd really appreciate it if you could find this event tab. Maybe I'll give Carlos a link and he can drop it in the description.
I think I already
It's all,
did.
okay, great. And go to that event tab and click if you're going or at least interested. That gives me kind of a head count. So far, there's about 50 people who say that they are for sure going, and another 250 people who say they are interested. Now, from my past experience, usually the amount of people who say they're interested are the amount of people who show up. So we could have 300 people, but I really don't know. And I never know until it gets closer to the event. And really, I never know until I pull in there and see who's there. And a lot of times people will come later in the event. It's almost 2 weeks long. Sometimes they'll show up, first day and just stay for a couple days. I bought 200 magnets. I buy magnets every year to give people kind of like, it's put it on your car or wherever it says I was at this year's Boondocking Bash, and I have 200 magnets. So I'm kind of hoping it's not more people than that. The more people it is, the more work. But at the same time, the more people we have, the more fun we have. So I have no idea.
So the first year was 500 people. What about the second year?
The second year was COVID. That's when COVID hit and Canada was closed. So a lot of the snowbirds couldn't come down. A lot of people were scared. We had about 150 people the second year. And last year, I'm guessing it was between 200 and 250.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, it can be a little overwhelming. So I'm also looking for volunteers, people who can help with anything, guiding people in if they need to find it. I don't want to announce the exact location yet, even though I'm pretty sure I know where it's going to be. There's only really one spot where it should be, but depending on how many people actually show up, we'll be somewhere in Slab City or right within walking distance of Slab City.
So if people want to help and they want to get a hold of you, how can they get a hold of you?
Well, you can always go to the group or the page, Boondocking and Free Camping USA, and that's the and symbol, not the word and. Or you can find me on Facebook, Jimmy Allen. I'm the one that looks like a goof. um, or you can hit me up on YouTube, The Almost Happy Camper, or TikTok at Nomad Days, NOMADDAZE.
Okay, let's see here. I'm gonna see. Okay, I know that there's a big question about it's a cleaning up is very important. Um, I know you talked about that in your the video for last year's boondocking bash. Do you want to touch on that?
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons. That's one of the reasons uh, it's just under 14 days now. I used to do it for 14 days, but on public land there's a 14-day limit. So I started changing it to 10 or 12 days so that we would have a couple days to clean up afterwards. And we usually get quite a few volunteers. I don't want people thinking because this is Slab City they can just like start trashing it. Like we want to leave it cleaner than we found it. And maybe one of my ideas is to build kind of like a an art project structure if enough people want to help. I don't want to give too many details on that yet, but I'm hoping we can leave something really cool behind. But yeah, definitely at the end of this event, anybody who's willing to volunteer or bring trash bags or has a truck and trailer that can haul some trash to, I don't even know where the nearest landfill is around there, but we don't want to leave the place dirtier. In fact, we'd like to leave it cleaner than we found it. I always tell people, clean up after yourselves. And if your neighbors don't, please clean up after your neighbors too. Like the fact that we do clean up after ourselves is one of the reasons we've been able to do this every year. One of the reasons that we're kind of welcomed into places. And so we don't want to be disrespectful. I mean, that's obvious though. I shouldn't even have to tell people that, but I always do because there's always those that just like, oh, I'll just leave my trash here. Somebody will get it. And yeah, somebody will get it, but please don't make somebody else get it.
Okay, and the link to the event on Facebook is down in the description of this video. So if you were interested in contacting Jimmy or learning a little bit more about the event, you could go down to the description down in the of this video and click on that and learn more and maybe contact Jimmy. So it's a 2 week bash. I mean, are all the trailers like do do all the RVs make like a circle? I mean,
It
is the parking of the RVs strategic in any way?
it depends on how many people we have, and people can kind of park as close to the main circle as they feel comfortable. But usually we do have a circle around the fire pit. And then there's people kind of branch out in different directions from there. One of the things I like to do is have a quiet side because we are going to make some noise. We're going to have music and karaoke and dancing and laughing, and a lot of us will be up late, so we're not going to be super quiet. That's why we don't want to camp right up against somebody's existing camp, unless they're cool with it. A lot of people are, but yeah, we're gonna. That's the main thing we're gonna do is just as people come in, tell them, look, if you don't like the music and you don't like the talking by the fire, please kind of camp further out to the outskirts. And I'd like people to camp together. That's the whole point of doing this. So I'd like to have like a cluster a little further away. That's the quiet area, and then a cluster around the main fire pit that knows they're going to be dealing with some noise.
Okay. So it's an organized event. There's
It,
gonna be something for everybody.
it is organized, but I'm the kind of person that my organization skills are wing it at the last minute, and somehow it always works out. Um,
That's
I do things the way I did in past years. And yeah, I'm hoping there'll be something for everybody. Usually a few people bring kids and we get some people that are good with kids to find some things for them to do. A lot of the older people like to play Farkle, or we'll have poker nights or some other sort of board games, but we also have music nights for the people that like to dance and karaoke for the people that like to sing and live music nights for anybody that wants to come and perform, movie nights, which we kind of make for everybody. Try to make it fun for everybody and have something going pretty much every day.
Hey, Jimmy, Yancy Duty is asking when is the bash?
December 2nd to the 15th.
The 2 week bash, December 2nd to the 15th. So if you can make it for 2 weeks, go down to the description of this video, December 2nd to the 15th. Okay, yeah, it says December 2nd to the 15th.
And when we're in court site, a lot of times we'll have like a hamburger night. There's this place called Randy's that sells dollar cheeseburgers, so everybody pitches in. And if you don't have money to pitch in, usually there's people that pay a little extra. I don't know exactly where we can get some kind of food like that. Maybe I'll get a taco truck to show up or something. I don't know. I kind of, like I said, I kind of wing it and put everything together last minute, but somehow it always works out. I'm also trying to get a big tent that we can gather inside of, just in case it's windy or rainy, or maybe to turn into like a kitchen area. In past years, I've got companies to send me a tent for free just to like promote them at these things. I haven't had any luck with that this year. There's somebody who might be bringing a structure that we can use, but if anybody else has like a big tent of some sort, wedding tent or a yurt or something like that that you could bring, that would be amazing.
Okay, what about does it get in any of the previous boondocking bashes, has there ever been any type of violence where people should be concerned about their safety?
Not really. Out of 4 years of doing this, most of the people that come to this are really cool. We do have a few people that like start some drama. One year there were a couple of fights, but they were like fights between friends, so they weren't like nobody really got hurt. And we discourage that stuff. Like we have alcohol there, and things happen, but we're pretty good about respecting each other and walking away. Like, we're only there for 2 weeks. Nothing's that big a deal. Like, don't ruin it for everybody else because somebody said something that made you upset or did something. Like, it's 2 weeks. Wait till it's over. Handle your business then.
Right. So okay, then so you get there on the first day. What can you expect? Is it, you say that you said that you kind of do things last minute, like spontaneous type of deal, right? So
Yeah,
I get there the first day with my RV. I park it. What can I? What should I? Like what can I expect?
probably have a meeting.
Once I get there, there's gonna be like a schedule. Okay, this was gonna be happening on the first day.
I'm
There's gonna be happening the second day, third day, and so on.
I'm bringing a marker board, and we usually turn that into a schedule. We also usually have a Facebook Messenger group, and I'm probably going to build a Facebook group just for this, that nobody will be able to post in except me and maybe a couple volunteers. And we'll use that group because the messaging groups, you can only add 100 people. And so that's been a problem in the past. I also expect people to help each other out word of mouth. If you hear that tomorrow's tomato soup night, tell people. If you hear that, sometimes we do a barbecue night if enough people bring meat, and we can always do hot dogs too if we have to. But as we put the things together, I'll be putting them on the poster board, which will be near the main fire pit or the main tent or my RV. And uh, I'll also be using some sort of a Facebook group. I'll give everybody the link to it or add them as they come in, and I'll go on that Facebook group once a day and post a schedule. And if I know of what night things are going to happen in advance, I also want to get a schedule of the slab camps that are open to the public. I want people to know, go to the range Saturday, the different camps for the different things that they're inviting people in. That's part of the reason to do this, is I want people to go experience the slabs and go to these camps that are trying to build things for people and bring people there and let people know, like, this is where you're welcome. But I also always have a meeting on the first day or the second day, depending on how late people pull in. And I really want to reiterate at that meeting and right now, don't go wandering into slab camps that aren't public. A lot of people live here and they don't want like goofy tourists just walking around looking. Like, you can kind of tell. I'll put a list of the places on our board or somewhere that people can see the places that are open to the public and when you can go there. And if somebody's got art set out front, then it's pretty obvious they want you to look at their art projects. But if it just looks like somebody's home, don't go wandering into camps without knowing that it's okay. That's one of the main things I want to let people know, because a lot of people, this is just their home and they don't want the tourism, and so there's enough places that do want the tourism. We'll send people there. We'll probably even have a few guided field trips to the different camps on the nights that they're doing things. Some of the more full-time Slab City residents have already volunteered to like lead some of these people over to these different camps on the different nights. And I want to have the bash and have our own stuff going on, and invite people who live in the slabs or just visiting to come down and hang with us. But I also want to bring the group into the places in the slabs where they want people to come.
So one of your main objectives with this moving having this Boondock Bash in Slab City is to bring positive attention to Slab City, right? Because there's a lot of negative attention on the
Yeah,
slab. So you want
let
to do something good for Slab City.
yeah, exactly, and let people know that, like, hey, this is still a place where nomads can go, and you can feel welcome, and you can have a good time, and you can stay warm during the winter. And there's so much negativity out there about Slab City. There's so many rumors, and like, of course, bad things happen there, but bad things happen everywhere. I come from a place called Oildale. Like, if we compared bad things, like, bad things happen everywhere. But there's a lot of great people there too, and there's a lot of great things that happen there. There's a lot of beautiful things that happen there, and mostly people with YouTube and everything, they want to focus on the bad, and I want people to see firsthand for themselves the good.
Okay. Let's see here. Is there anything else that you want to
I'd like to
add?
go a
Yeah.
quick run of the other events that are going to be happening down around that area and over in Quartzsite this winter. I don't have the exact dates written down, but there's going to be, shortly after the Boondocking Bash, there's going to be a Christmas New Year's party in Quartzsite at Dome Rock. And then you may have to Google the names of these events in order to find them, but there's also the Gypsy Minstrel Caravan. Last year was the first year we had that event. My friend Marco put that on, and it's very musically focused, and it was a great event. That's also going to be in the Dome Rock campground just outside of Quartzsite, Arizona, I think sometime in January. And then in February or March, there's an event called Van Aid. And Van Aid is really unique. Van Aid, a lot of people show up just willing to volunteer their skills and their time. And people who live in motorhomes, trailers, vans, buses, who need stuff done, show up and they bring the stuff that they need done, and people do it for them. And we also party and drink and eat and have a great time. But the main focus of that is to help these people get things done. A lot of people don't know how to install their solar panels. So you buy your solar panels, you buy your charge controllers, everything you need, bring it to Van Aid. We'll get some people to help you put it on. The same thing with roof vent fans, or sometimes fixing roofs, or sometimes there's people who are doing sewing that will make curtains for people. We've had people building bed frames in vans. And one year there was a guy at the van build party, which is different from Van Aid, but they both have the same idea. He was building composting toilets for people. And Schoolypalooza. Schoolypalooza happens in January, and there's actually been a big update to Schoolypalooza. Schoolypalooza was the biggest event last year. There was easily 1,000 people there, and it was great. It was such a good time. Of course, not everybody had a good time. Some people don't like the music and the fun, but they just want to camp quietly with 1,000 other people. And I don't know what they expected, but so this year, some people who were trying to take over Schoolypalooza decided they wanted to do this on private property and charge everybody to go. I am assuming they thought they could make money off of the nomad community. And there's not that much money in the nomad community. Definitely not the kind of money to be paying, for a 2-week campsite on private property somewhere. And so there was going to be 2 different Schoolypaloozas, the free one in Ehrenberg and the official one that was going to cost money. I don't know where they were going to hold that, but I just found out today that the official paid Schoolypalooza has given up. They realized they weren't going to sell enough tickets to pay for the private property they wanted to use. They realized they weren't going to make any money off of it. So from what I understand, they've thrown in the towel. Now the only Schoolypalooza event is going to be the free one, and it's going to be held in Ehrenberg, Arizona, just like Schooly's been held every year for the last few years. And it's one of the best events of the season if you just want to have a good time. So that's the big update on Schoolypalooza. I don't have the exact dates. You can Google these things. If people leave comments after this video, I'll try to come back and answer questions and leave links to some of these and dates and stuff. But if you remember to Google the names or just search them on Facebook, I'm sure you can find the exact date and location. So after the Boondocking Bash, there's the Christmas New Year's party at Dome Rock. I can't think of the real name of that. I'm just calling it the Christmas New Year's party. Maybe that is the name. And then there's the Gypsy Minstrel Caravan and Schoolypalooza. There's also the Nomad Gathering. I don't remember the dates for that. Not Nomad, but Nomad, which has a focus on people who are new to doing the Nomad thing. New to doing the Nomad thing. We're going to try to help people just kind of get started and teach people some things. And I may give a presentation there. I usually give a presentation at the RTR every year. And last year there was a RV singles event. I gave a presentation on how to find free boondocking spots. I like to get up and talk, and I got a lot to talk about, and I like to share my knowledge, and so do a lot of other people in the community. So that's the purpose of the Nomad, NEWMAD gathering, is for these people who are just getting on the road, just doing this to kind of meet some other people and teach each other a few things and kind of get them comfortable with this whole nomadic lifestyle.
All right, then, Jimmy. I think. Do you think that you've shared enough all you want to share about the event? And all
Yeah,
these other events.
I'm trying to rack my brain if there's anything else, but I think I'm good.
Okay, then, Jimmy. Well, there you have it, folks. Boondock Bash is going to be December 2nd to the 14th. Is that or 15th? December 2nd to the 15th. And it's going to be in Slab City. If you're interested in going, I left the description to the event down. A link to the event down in the description. If you're interested, go down to the description of the video and learn more about that bash. But Jimmy, thanks a lot for coming on and
thanks for having me and letting me explain it.
Yeah, not a problem. My pleasure, man. Everybody that listened, thanks a lot for listening and tuning in. You could also go to the Almost Happy Camper, Jimmy Allen's YouTube channel, and subscribe if you haven't. Learn more about the event there, because I know he's been posting some videos, and that's pretty much it.
That's another good idea. Sorry. If you type in Boondocking Bash into YouTube, you'll see a lot of videos of mine and a lot of videos from other YouTubers, which will kind of give you an idea of what we do.
All right. Sounds good, man. Thanks a lot, Jimmy.
Later.